Guys, it's Fonzie with DipYourCar.com, world famous peelable auto paints. Today I could not be more proud to introduce to you a brand new coating system that's taken well over a year of research, testing, and development. Of course, we're talking about the new ProLine system from DipYourCar. Now we have a lot to cover today as far as what ProLine is, who should be using it and how, what makes it different. So sit back and enjoy the video. Now first off, what is ProLine and why was it developed? Well, think about the DipYourCar product offerings as different buckets. On this side, we have PDS, which has been proven long-term to be the best DIY level coating out there. Almost anyone can grab a Pro Car kit with PDS and spray their car for the first time, as long as they follow instructions, can get a great result. It's been proven long-term to be extremely easy to use. On the other side of the spectrum, we have AutoFlex coatings. And this is a very high-level coating. It replicates OEM clear coat finishes, obviously more expensive, more complex, and should only be used by the high-end professionals in a full paint booth with compressor and everything. So you've got these two different sides of the spectrum, which left a gap right in the middle. That's where ProLine comes in. Someone who's graduated past PDS wants more performance, higher quality, and better finish, but isn't quite at the level of an AutoFlex coatings. So the obvious question comes up, who should be using ProLine now, and who should avoid using ProLine and stick to PDS? Well, as far as who should avoid using ProLine, the easiest thing to do is look towards your spray gun equipment. If you're a DIY level customer who uses the DYC dip sprayer, and there are a lot of you guys out there, then you're going to avoid using ProLine and stick to PDS. The reason for that is the ProLine system requires more pressure and better atomization than what the DYC dip sprayer system can give you. So you'll actually get better results using PDS with the dip sprayer than you will with ProLine. On the other side, if you're using at least a minimum of the DYC advanced level turbine, the stage 3, or even better, a higher stage turbine, or best case scenario, a compressor system, then DYC ProLine is the product you should be using. Now, as far as what equipment you should be using when spraying DYC ProLine, we'll start with the best case scenario and move our way down from there. Best case scenario, what DYC ProLine was designed to be sprayed out of is an HVLP or RP spray gun coming out of a compressor setup. This is going to give you the best performance, best results, hands down across the board. Now, as far as what gun, you can use almost any HVLP or RP spray gun. Internally, we've been using the Satin 5000 BRP for all of our testing, development, and what we use on our cars. As far as what tip size, is a 1.8 tip across the board for all of the ProLine products, and we've been spraying it at around between 18 to 20 psi. Moving down from there, you're getting into your turbine category. 5-stage being your best case scenario for your turbine, 4-stage, and then 3-stage. And of course, as you move down the stages of turbines, you're going to be losing pressure, losing atomization, and you're going to be losing some product performance as well. The absolute minimum that you should be using for DYC ProLine is a 3-stage system like the DYC Advanced turbine, which comes with that 3-stage turbine, the hose, and the DYC gun. So what differences are there between ProLine and a product system like AutoFlex Coatings or PDS? Now, AutoFlex is kind of in its own little world. It utilizes a multi-component clear coat system specifically to replicate OEM clear coat finishes. Chemical and scratch resistant, must be sprayed by a skilled professional in a paint booth through a compressor system in the right environment. Obviously more of a niche product, not something that everyone can utilize. Now, PDS, not chemical and scratch resistant like ProLine, very easy to use, but where they differ is ProLine is going to flow perfectly through an HVLP or RP spray gun where PDS cannot, and with ProLine you're going to get the slickest to the touch, smoothest, flattest finishes possible. What you can achieve with ProLine is simply unachievable with something like PDS. Now, one of the coolest, most unique features about the ProLine system is the 4 different clears you can use when spraying a vehicle. Essentially 4 different sheen finishes from frosted to matte, satin, and glossy, which gives you more versatility and more options than you've ever had, especially as an installer. Now you've got frosted, which is an ultra low sheen, very aggressive finish. Matte, which is a little bit more sheen, a little bit more clarity than Frosted, but again, that dry matte look. Satin is the perfect level of shine, the perfect level of clarity to give you a crisp satin finish. And then glossy is even glossier than the satin. It's a top coat and it goes over any of the other clears, and it's going to give you about the same level of gloss as a DYC top coat. However, it's going to level better for you and it's going to feel slicker to the touch. Now, all 4 clears feel slick and smooth just like vinyl. You'll be extremely impressed once you get your fingertips on the product when you finish spraying a car. Now I'm going to explain to you how you use the ProLine system on an installation, and pay attention because this process is different than any of the other coatings you've used before, so it may seem a little bit complex. We're going to break the installation down into different series of coats. You have your primer coats because every ProLine installation will start with coats of one of the 2 primers. Then we have our color coats, our pearl coats, and our finishing coats. So for the primer coats, you're going to use one of the 2 primers, and we're going to explain the difference between those 2 in a moment. For your color coats, this is where you're going to be putting down black or blue or red or yellow down on the car. For the color coats, you're always going to be using the matte clear gallons. There's 10 different drop-in tints that you can use. All 10 of those drop-in tints should be utilized in a gallon of matte clear versus the satin or the frosted. The pigment suspends and performs better in the matte clear. So all of your color coats are going to be utilizing the matte clear product. Now when you move on to your pearl coats, you're simply going to choose whatever sheen finish you want for your project and use that clear for your pearl coats. If I want to be spraying a frosted car today, I'm going to use the frosted clear for all of my pearl coats. If I want to spray a matte car today, I'm going to use the matte clear for all my pearl coats. And if I want a satin finish on my car today, I'm going to use the satin clear for all of my pearl coats. Now, it's best practice, and this is a little bit new, to finish every one of your jobs with at least 1 wet coat of whatever clear you used for your pearl. So if I finish my car today doing a frosted finish and I did all of my pearls in frosted, I'm going to come back and seal everything in with 1 wet coat of frosted clear. Now the glossy top coat is kind of a different animal. This product is not to be used with pearls or drop-in tints. All it's going to be used for is to go on top of one of the other clears to increase the clarity or increase the gloss level if desired. So to give you a real-world example, today we're doing a frosted finish on our S4 with Stormcloud Gray Pearl. So I'm going to start with one of the primers. I'm going to be using matte black for our color coat base for the pearls. Then I'm going to come in with our frosted clear and our pearls on top of the black, and then simply finish with 1 wet coat of frosted to seal it all in. It's new, it sounds a little complex, but once you dial it in, it works great. Now let's discuss the 2 primer options that you have within the ProLine system. And like I said, every single ProLine installation is going to start with one of these 2 primers. Now, which primer you decide to use is completely up to you, but I'll give you some guidance here. The Prime Coat product is less expensive and it should be used when the OEM factory paint is in good condition. The other option, the high build primer option, a more expensive option, but more robust option. This is what you're going to use when the car rolls in and you've got scratches in the clear coat, a lot of chips, oxidation or flaking in the clear coat, or maybe you've got some primer or bare metal showing on an older car that you're restoring. Whenever the clear coat or factory paint is in less than ideal condition, that's when you're going to use the high build primer. I do know some installers that decide, hey listen, it's more expensive, but I want to just use the safety net and use the high build primer on every install. It's completely up to you as the installer to make that decision. Now today's project, we're going to be spraying our Audi S4. We're going to be doing it in Stormcloud Gray Metallic with a frozen finish. Now when you're going in to spray your car, there is a different behavior to this product than what you may have used before. So I definitely suggest doing some test panels before you go ahead and spray the car. Because like I said, it is different. You want to understand the behavior, you want to understand your spraying technique and how it relates to how the product behaves so you can get the best finish possible. Now here's a couple tips. First of all, the most important thing is to make sure you're spraying the primer properly. How you're going to spray the primer is 2 light tack coats followed by 1 medium coat and then 1 thin wet coat. Once your primers are down, all you're going to be doing is spraying thin wet coats all the way up to about a 9 coat level. Now the primers don't count towards that 9 coat goal, but that's what you really want to aim for optimal durability and peelability. So you get your primer coats down right, and then all you do is put on your thin wet coats. You don't want to put heavy pooling coats on there. The product simply doesn't need that in order to level properly. But in order to get that super smooth vinyl finish, you do want to fully wet out each time. So practice before you spray a car. Don't assume all the experience you have spraying PDS or another coating is going to relate to this one. You want to get it done, and you want to get it done right. Now we finished up with the primer coats, and it's time to start loading up the ProLine and getting into our ProLine coats. Now, rule of thumb is you want a minimum of about 9 wet coats between all of your ProLine coats for optimal durability and peelability. So for example, on the S4 today, we're going to do 5 coats of matte black as our base for our pearls. We're going to do 3 coats of pearls in the frosted clear, and then 1 sealer coat of frosted clear to seal the pearls in, and that will get us our 9 coats. Now, quick note, the primer coats and the glossy top coat do not count towards your 9 total coats. So you want to build that minimum 9 coats between just the ProLine, being your color coats, your pearls, and your sealer coat. And another quick note about the glossy top coat. This is a glossy top coat, not what would be considered a high gloss top coat or a high gloss finish like an AutoFlex. What you're going to see with the glossy top coat is a finish very similar to what you would see if Dip Pearl top coat was used for a glossy finish. However, the differences between glossy top coat and Dip Pearl top coat is you're going to have a much slicker, smoother finish with the glossy top coat from ProLine, and it's going to level better. But again, you don't add any tints or any pearls into the glossy top coat. It just goes on top of maybe Satin ProLine when you're finished with it. Now, glossy top coat is a cool option to have, but I think what you're going to see is the 3 real workhorses of this system is going to be the matte, the satin, and the frosted. Those are going to be by far the most popular. So let's jump into the base coats. Now, after the installation is complete, you got the car put back together, you're going to wait a minimum of 2 hours, and then you're going to apply Dip Coat Protective Spray. Now, the ProLine feels slick and smooth to the touch by itself, but you're going to feel shocked at how amazing it feels after you apply Dip Coat. The ProLine reacts to Dip Coat really, really well. So all you're going to do is 1 light mist per panel, and then take a microfiber towel and work it in. Now, not only is it going to make it feel amazing, but it's going to help protect it from marring and scratching along the way. It works so well on ProLine, there's just absolutely no excuse. Every ProLine vehicle should be treated with dip coat before it hits the road. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know you guys are just as excited about ProLine as I am. We have been getting slammed with questions and taking orders for ProLine over the past 2 weeks since the product launched. Now, I know it's a little bit new and a little different. We covered a lot today, but ProLine is just going to become second nature for you guys once you get an installation under your belt, and you're going to be completely blown away by the product performance. Now, if you want a shot for ProLine, simple, just click right up here. It'll bring you to the ProLine collection, but if you have any questions at all, email us, customerservice@DipYourCar.com. Call in during business hours and talk to somebody, or chat with us directly on the website. We will bring you right up to speed so you can start spraying ProLine. Now let's get you out back because we have 3 beautiful ProLine finishes for you to check out. It's Fonzie. I'll see you in the next video.